That's it. Let's go, baby. He's grown.
What's up, guys? Uh, Back for another edition of the Ball Up Top podcast. Um, Almost reaching the glorious Christmas day in the NBA, but before that, we have some other important games for some of us coming up in the NBA Cup. I don't know why. I was just talking about Shannon earlier. I don't know why they're putting the final on a Tuesday, but it is what it is. But we might have a more intriguing game coming up this weekend as two of our panelists' favorite teams are pitted against each other, the Thunder and the Rockets.
Right this way. Pow pow.
uh,
Yeah, I shot IO on accident.
so I do want to get into that game, but first, I think probably the most notable game from the NBA Cup. Actually, we had two pretty memorable games yesterday. One for Trae Young celebrating in the middle of the Knicks court, and the other for a really tough watch of the game until the end, the Rockets versus the Warriors. But I think we'd be remiss if we didn't let Afan start off with talking about the Rockets and the Warriors exercising some demons against a team that's killed the killed the Rockets historically. What do you think of the game yesterday?
Yeah, man, I thought it was over with like 2 minutes left. I was on FaceTime with my wife, and she saw my frustration. I was expressing to her that I was in college the last time we beat this team, and I, now I'm working as a doctor. So it's been a long time since we last beat this team. I don't know. I had some mixed emotions during the game because Toyota Center looked a lot more packed. As I was telling the guys that I probably should have went to the games, just unfortunately being too lazy. But it would have been a good environment to be in. But mixed emotions, I say, because the good times are back, baby. You know, the Rockets are back on TNT. It feels nice. Feels nice to be at least talked about. I remember 2018. I used to listen to like all like the Ringer podcast, and we'd be talked about. And it was a good feeling when your team is discussed, and we've just been through so much since then. So much irrelevance. So it was a good feeling. The mixed part comes from this stupid Warriors team. In the first quarter, Steph hit a three from the right wing. That was the same exact shot he had against PJ Tucker in the 2018 game five or game six, I believe, to eliminate us. Which a game me and Azan were famously at, and famously was the worst day of my life due to other reasons that I can't
Oh,
discuss.
was that when he like had 0 points in the
Yeah,
first half and then 30 in the second? Oh my gosh.
exactly.
No KD.
No
Awful.
KD. The path was there to beat the stupid team. Um, but yeah, all the way till the end. But I think Jabari Smith put it beautifully on a quote he said after the game is that last year we wouldn't have won this game, or the years previously we wouldn't win this game. But it shows the maturity of this team that you're down by six with a minute and a half. You get two 24-second violations. And then I think the 2 minute report actually came out today, and then the pods inbound was actually a 5 second violation too. They had like an 8 second half court violation before that, or like in the fourth quarter, I believe, as well, and then just countless amount of turnovers that they were causing. So it just shows that they can rebound from that. I was glad that Fred VanVleet finally hit a three to cut it down to three. And then obviously I would say that that call, I'm not in favor of that call, but apparently the call was right according to the last 2 minute report. Şengün was also being held and down. You don't call these things. Is my point. Like, of course, it wasn't called on us. It shouldn't have been called there. But ultimately, it gave Jalen Green another pass. He showed up. That was the biggest career highlight, unfortunately, of his career so far, is hitting two free throws there. But just excited to go against my friend Shanor. That's what I was really looking forward to. I wanted to first of all beat this team, get this monkey off our back, and then we're just playing with house money now. I can just enjoy this game against my fellow brother Shamor here on Saturday now.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to it. I think the last Rockets loss broke me. Last episode I cut it out completely, but during our MVP segment, Alok threw it to me to talk about Shea, and he's been amazing, and I was just such a dick about it. I started spiraling, just because
You
I
know,
don't
you know, in this podcast we try to give you as authentic of an experience as we can.
But
But
I took it.
this was just
Yeah,
so bad from Schnorr.
I
It was
took it
messed
out
up.
because it was
It
so
it got
unfair. I
really
wasn't
dark.
even saying things that were true. I was just lying on Shea's name, and I was like, "This is what have I become?" And when Russell Westbrook was the butt of the joke of the league, I still stood up for him, and I failed Shea, and I would like to apologize to you, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
We broke your back, man.
Takes a real man to do that.
I broke my back, spinal.
I do want to get to the upcoming Thunder Rockets game, but I do want to hand it over to our favorite Atlantan to talk about the Hawks. They had a big one yesterday. I don't think the Knicks have still exercised the Trae Young demons. He still owns them. And if I recall our NBA Cup preview, one of the favorites, one of like the 6 or 7 favorites that Io highlighted were the Atlanta Hawks. We laughed at him for it.
We owe Io an apology for that as well.
Hey, unfortunately, I was out running errands. I was at the gym at the start of the game. So I didn't even get to watch. The game, unfortunately. But what
this is not good for our brand.
I know. I don't do any run research, but I listen to my podcasts.
Hey, next time lie.
Be
sure next time.
We give the fans what's the word?
Authenticity.
Yeah, that's it. But from what I was able to tell, like the team is finally getting rid of DeJounte Murray. Finally, the team. The power is with Trae. And when you surround him with the pieces, I should not. I'm doing dice. How do you do it?
Yeah, be careful with how you roll the dice, please.
That angle was kind of crazy.
Anyway,
Be careful with how you roll the dice, please.
But that's what I'm trying to roll dice. But as you can see, and I think we're kind of, again, I should watch the game. But from what I'm able to see from Snyder, I think we're finally kind of seeing the identity of what he's looking for. I mean, those Utah Jazz teams were never good defensively, but I mean, I don't think that's his fault. The wings just were not doing what the wings needed to do, surrounded them by Gobert. But it's I think you're kind of seeing his identity with this team by surrounding him with big athletic wings, people who can shoot, play defense. Dyson Daniels, the DeAndre Hunter, Jalen, man, this team they're young, they're feisty. Trae is the leader, and they're probably not gonna get rid of him anymore. I think we're kind of seeing what Atlanta could be. That being said, again, didn't get to see the Knicks. I didn't get to see much of the Knicks. It still seems like Cat is let me just stop. Anyway, we'll have to see against the Bucks. I mean, the 3 are back. We'll see what they're rolling right now. We'll see. This is a real big test for the up and coming Hawks. Kind of see how they are this season, but also it'll be kind of big for Milwaukee. Also kind of on the come. They're starting to roll, starting to come back up. See, a win this weekend would be really nice for their aspirations. Just keep gelling.
Can Darvin Ham continue to be undefeated in the NBA Cup? I think it's one of the bigger storylines of that game.
If he becomes reigning, the first back-to-back NBA Cup champion coach.
Special.
I don't know.
Legacy. That's a legacy right there.
Up there with Spo.
Dude,
he's coming for Doc's job, man. Doc's sweating now.
Doc better put those hands in his pockets.
Who's the real mastermind behind this Milwaukee Bucks run that we're witnessing right now?
He's supposed to go around them dudes.
It's Io putting him in the shower.
That's true. Io gave the whole organization towels.
Yeah, he gave
a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
They've been on a roll ever since.
Yeah, we got to start talking about this ball up top curse. I feel like everything we say.
Curse. It's either a curse or
I
blessing.
think it's just we're lighting a fire under these people. They must be listening.
Trying to
Is
prove
whoever we praise gets either hurt or just like goes on a stinker, and then
it's just
whoever
so
we
funny to think like
That
one of
Paulo,
our.
I mean, Franz was.
It's just funny to think like one of our 60 viewers is just like Doc Rivers.
Darvin Ham, man, doing his scouting.
What do these guys have to say?
I mean, to a point,
that's a
he
good
made,
point.
like,
Yeah. I never
after
thought of
Franz
it.
He made it all the way. He made it all the way to the shitter segment.
Hey.
Sorry, the shower segment.
that's it.
I mean,
All right.
what did you say? These when we hand out towels, you're telling them to hit the showers. They're shower hitters, right?
Yeah, dude. I'm not into abbreviating that. I think we
So-
can use those extra syllables. We don't need to abbreviate it.
Sure. You
But
know
we've
what?
gone off the rails a little bit. I think Aya has made good points about having DeJounte Murray out. Kind of makes it clear as far as who's the head of the snake at the offense. Just a matter of if Trey's able to make his shots.
They're doing this like while Trey hasn't been shooting well.
Yeah.
Which speaks to like the how much the rest of the team stepped up. Also,
Yeah.
Quinn's got those. I think it might be those red frames he wears. Trey got the beard. I just
Aura.
I hate to say this word, but yeah, they got a little bit of aura.
Yeah. And Jalen Johnson. That.
And
helps too.
Jalen Johnson's awesome.
Yeah. Good player. Dyson Daniels, as we've talked about before in previous iterations. We have a lot of most improved candidates. DeAndre Hunter, even we might get into a little bit later. So yeah, a lot of the good things going for the Hawks, but probably the main event, I'd say of the possible matchups for the rest of the NBA Cup, I think the most interesting matchup is happening on Saturday. Is it Saturday? I think so.
Yeah, it's Saturday.
The Thunder and the Rockets. So let's preview this game. What are the keys you guys see to this important game?
So, last time we played, it was another defensive struggle, as we like to say in football. The Mavs game, the Thunder won a few days ago, was like the first time this season it felt like everyone, we took a shit ton of threes, first of all, but it felt like a lot of them finally were starting to fall. I wonder if that momentum will keep up against the Rockets, who are, they play super tough and gritty. I'm a little more excited this go around for the matchup. Although if we lose again, it will break me beyond repair. I don't know. I think a lot of people said they didn't enjoy the Rockets Warriors games, but I don't know. I always like saying when it's not the Thunder involved, I always enjoy seeing the team struggle to score a little bit. But we'll see. I think as long as iHeart doesn't get in foul trouble, because that was a key thing in the last matchup. iHeart got in foul trouble early, and then Şengün took advantage of it towards the end of the game. So we'll see. We got to keep our bigs on the floor. How are you feeling about it on your end, Afan?
Yeah, I agree with what you say. I think Shea is just going to get his points. It's really hard to stop Shea.
Oh, sorry. One more thing.
Yeah.
Fred VanVleet, if you go off again, Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet. Oh my God, that was ridiculous.
Dylan Brooks has been actually.
He's been decent. And
offensively,
I think it's just because, like, in my head, these guys are like a little worse than they are. Probably because I don't watch them every game. Especially like seeing Fred VanVleet like spend his next few games going like 1 for 10, 2 for 8, 1 for 7 from 3. It infuriates me. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Fred VanVleet is putting up tour dates. I hope that doesn't continue. Jalen may be due for a good game. He's been putting up good numbers every other game.
Mm-hmm.
Last game was a struggle. I personally think our key lies in kind of how we started the game against Golden State, as we were playing through Şengün and Jabari, which I really liked, and I think it's a pretty interesting iteration of what Ime is doing, because Jabari was struggling. He was I gave him 2 towels 2 weeks in a row, but he's been really good since. Like, he's good volume on 3-point shots, good percentage, playing really good defense, getting a lot of offensive and defensive rebounds, playing his role. But like what I saw yesterday was him calling his own number, curling off some of these, like these screens that Shingun was setting, rising up over the top of smaller defenders, things that make you feel like, all right, this is my moment, this is my time to score, which I think he needs to do, especially against OKC. From a defensive perspective, Shea is going to get his numbers. What helped us late game last time is we played good defense on Shea at the end of the game. Last game, specifically Amen and Tari.
That last possession.
Yeah, the last possession with Tari. I think Amen needs to have a very heavy dosage, especially he just needs to shadow Shea, I think. Jalen, I fear, is going to be reduced in role again this game. I think OKC plays him really well, except that end of March game of last season where he played really well.
End of March game for Jalen Green, and he did well.
It's
Surprising.
a cyclical pattern, huh? But yeah, I think the other key you already mentioned is Hardenstein on your end. If he gets in any type of foul trouble, I think Shingun is just going to eat on some of the bench. And our bench is a little bit deeper than the Thunder's bench, I would say. We have a lot more players who come in and like play like a role and like heavy minutes off the bench. So I think if we can get Hardenstein on the bench, Jalen Williams, I think, struggled a little bit in the last game against us too. So I think if Jalen does well for you guys, I think it's pretty much over for us. So
I think Caruso didn't play last time either.
Caruso did not play. Yeah, that's correct. I'm not too worried about Caruso offensively.
Sure, yeah.
Fair. And then
I think, yeah.
I think I feel the same way about. I know Dort's like 3-point percentage is really good, but like every time he shoots, I feel the same way. Dylan Brooks, honestly, like dude, his shot, like it literally could.
It goes off the screen, and you don't know where it's gonna land.
Like I don't know how that thing goes in. Like I really do not know. But yeah, you've touched on pretty much the stuff. I think you guys will win. That's my personal opinion. Like just being completely unbiased, you're not putting any type of curse or anything. But I think the difference between us and you guys right now is you have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. We have Şengün, who is going to be a really, really good player. He might be like one of the premier players in the NBA one day. But the problem is his supporting cast. Like he would thrive in an environment of 3-point shooting, and like he has absolutely no 3-point shooting. Like his assist numbers would be off the chart if he had 3-point shooting surrounding him. There were so many shots yesterday where like they were wide open 3-pointers, just freaking out. They weren't even close. So as long as he doesn't have like shooting around him, like we're gonna struggle offensively, and as long as we don't have a perimeter guard who can like not be like Fred VanVleet or Jalen Green, like we're going to struggle to score. And I mean, in an isolated incident, I think we can beat you guys, like what happened in Houston a couple weeks ago or a week ago. But I think in this scenario, I think you guys have a clear advantage.
Yeah, I think just to add to what you guys have been talking about, I think turnovers are going to be important. I think they're two of the highest deflection rate teams for teams that turn the other team over.
On the turnovers point you just made a look, I think last game, like it's like the only time this season I've seen OKC struggle to turn a team over was the Houston game. It was like,
and honestly, for all the shooting woes he has, Fred VanVleet being kind of the steadying force, like running the offense. Him and Şengün is kind of helps and like them to like stay organized on offense because they are limited. They have some like just potential in isolation, but for most of the time, if you're just letting Jalen Green run the show, it's going to be a lot sloppier of an offense. So I think VanVleet allows them to be a little bit more steady. Him and Şengün. I think it's the main advantage, like Afan touched on, is going to be Şengün against Hardenstein, especially if they don't have really much depth behind him. So like you said, if he gets in foul trouble, that's the matchup to exploit. But I think Daigneault knows that as well. Just knowing that with the perimeter defenders are around Hardenstein, that you can utilize them to kind of cut off passing lanes. They're going to have to be creative in ways to get Şengün in positions where he has his spot to like score. Like he's not a high volume or high percentage 3-point shooter, so he has certain spots that he needs to be to get his own shot, but also to set other people up. Whether it's at the I think he prefers to get the ball at the low post or at least at the elbow. I think they'll do a lot of work to deny them with their their rangy defenders. But Afon's point at the end of the day, not to like be reductive, but I think having one team has Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the other doesn't, which I think will make the difference. I'm obviously a little bit biased here, but I think he'll make the difference in this game. But I think it'll be close. Hopefully, it'll be entertaining. And we'll see what happens.
Any word, Io, on your guy Jalen Williams from Arkansas? Is he playing or no?
Nah, unfortunately, it's like he's still on the bench.
Man.
No timetable, unfortunately.
No timetable return.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, hey, we're still waiting, but never mind.
Ian Paolo.
Jalen Green
Yeah.
wasn't even either.
Ian Paolo.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I just want to give you just for the come Tuesday night, who's lifting the trophy? I think I know what a couple of y'all will say, but Schnorr, who's lifting the trophy on Tuesday?
I think it's gonna be Thunder Hawks final, and I think Hawks get the upset.
Of course,
No, realistically, as long as it's because I don't know, Daniel might be like, you know what, Dylan Jones, go ahead and get 12 minutes this game.
Oh, in the NBA Cup final, yeah, for sure.
Listen,
That's
he likes
for our audience.
he likes to tinker. He's a tinker.
For our audience, the Thunder's number one hater on this podcast is Shanor Shah. Number one lover and number one hater.
I'm scared. I think the cup is cursed.
Afan, who you got? Who's winning on Tuesday night?
I also got Thunder Hawks, but I got Thunder. But
Io.
Trey with the chili celebration, lifting the cup.
I was thinking Thunder. Sorry. My bad. I was thinking Thunder Bucks, but there's something about this Atlanta team. I think they could do the upset. So I want to go Atlanta OKC, but I think as long as OKC was able to get to Las Vegas, they're not playing anymore. I think they want to win both of them. They're trying to.
Your guy Jalen Williams, Jay Will, he really wants this cup win.
He needs that 1,000. He needs that $1 million.
He's the only one on the team apparently that knew like all the point differential stuff and like, hey, we gotta do this, and then if this team does that, because he's been hammering in the locker room the $500,000 thing. So
hey, that's why I changed.
It must be tough for him, man.
Yeah, times are tough.
They're gonna change AJ Mitchell's life with that if they win that.
Oh my god!
I also had the Thunder and the Hawks making it to the final. I think Trey is going to have it's a terrible matchup for the Bucks against Trae Young and like the way they play and they rely on transition offense. They get a lot of their buckets. It's gonna be terrible. Dame's gonna get torched. There's gonna be so much space for Jalen Johnson to operate in. Giannis is probably still gonna have like 45 points, but like Trae is gonna have like this like crazy like 30 point 20 assist type game. It's gonna be that's what I'm saying. But I think the Thunder will kind of figure it out a little bit with their perimeter defense. So
Can I give a special shout out to that white guy on Milwaukee, AJ Green? I don't know if he'd ever be mentioned, but that man can play some defense, man. He can move his feet. He's like a brick wall, man. Like, I swear to God, people are putting like hezzy moves on him. He doesn't move.
It's just people think like it's because he's white. People think they can just go by him. It doesn't work.
It really doesn't work. The commentary said like 5 times this guy is playing good defense. I've seen it. I've watched like multiple Bucks games now, and the dude actually can guard. Like, this isn't new for him.
Yeah, maybe they'll put AJ Green on Trey, primary defender. No, but it'll be fun to see. I again wish the Cup final wasn't on a Tuesday, but here we are. Something that's also coming up on the weekend is December 15th. And for those in the audience that don't know, that is the day that pretty much everyone else, in the league, aside from a couple of players who are extended over the summer, would be eligible for trade. So your off-season free agent signings. I forget who else kind of becomes eligible, but ultimately, basically everyone who hasn't gotten like a recent like max extension would be eligible for trade. So just wanted to see if y'all had people you're keeping your eye on the trade market. It's been a lot of chatter about Jimmy Butler lately.
Yeah, it seems to be the big one.
Yeah. So maybe we can start off with Jimmy and see if y'all have thoughts of A, if he'll get traded, and B, if where.
Well, according to his agent, Shams is full of BS. So I don't know. What do you guys make? I think Shams probably. I think Shams is right, and the agent's just trying to cover his tracks.
Yeah, I
But,
agree.
Jimmy is interesting because a lot of people say Denver. I don't know. Maybe that raises their floor a little bit, but they're gonna have to give up like MPJ in that trade, and they do not have like any other 3-point shooting. And Jimmy Butler only shoots good like when you need him to shoot good, which is not a lot in the regular season. I guess the most interesting one was one that I didn't think about till yesterday. Was when Shams added the Phoenix Suns, but I don't know how that would work because I feel like, well, I guess Brad Beal could waive his trade clause because he did want to go to Miami initially, but I don't know. What do you guys think of the Suns as a destination?
I don't really get it because why would Miami do it? Like they're already reluctant to pay Jimmy
Do the Suns even
Butler.
have assets?
I mean, their asset is Bradley Beal plus whatever
Yeah.
picks they have. But like, why would the Heat take on someone who's making $50 million for 2 more years? If the whole thing with Jimmy Butler is that they don't want to extend him and pay him $50 million. I get it. Bradley Beal's younger, but his like knees are the age, like the age of his knees are different than his actual age. He's just injured all the time. I don't really get it. I think it's just kind of him wish casting. Like, of course, Jimmy Butler would want to go and play with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Some other teams I was more intrigued by, just based on how like a trade actually seemed feasible and it was on his like quote unquote wish list, was the Rockets. I don't know how Fawn would feel about it, but I think having someone, especially for the playoffs, who's, I think he's a little bit, steadier of a go-to option who can score in isolation.
Yeah.
Who's gonna, and just kind of doesn't like take away anything from the team identity either. What's gotten them to this point, but you're also adding playoff experience, isolation scoring, and a lot of other
And
little
also
things.
like just like a go-to guy in general. It feels like the Rockets don't like that's the one big missing piece from the Rockets. Jalen Green was supposed to be that guy, but he's just way too inconsistent.
Yeah. So I think that that's probably the team I'd be most interested to see him traded. I think it's also probably the most realistic. Despite I think the Mavericks were also mentioned. I don't really see it. But yeah. What do you think?
My only thing about Houston is just like how old Jimmy is, and I get that like he could be that piece, but if he's not going to play, then what's the point of having? I mean, besides having that Udonis Haslem in the locker room, I don't really know what's the point of having Jimmy on the team for that role. He might be
Well,
injured.
he's gonna play this year. I mean, I think the rationale is, they're like top 3 seed in the West right now. It's like kind of have to like capitalize on your windows. I mean, he could contribute this year and probably next year. I don't think he's quite Udonis Haslem level yet.
No, but I'm saying if he gets injured.
Oh yeah.
Like, and then he has to sit. Like, I mean, then what? So
That's
my
true.
only. I just don't know if they would want to. If Houston want to give up, like, if they knew that he could help a little bit more healthier, I think it'll be enough to like wager not your future, but enough good pieces to trade. Besides that, only team I could that I think that would be able to take the risk, knowing that their team could potentially be better, is a reunion back in Philly. But I just don't really see that happening. But I feel like that's the only other, besides like Houston, because I don't really see Phoenix happening. Besides him just staying in Miami, like maybe Philly.
I think he's gonna stay ultimately.
I saw. Speaking of reunion, I saw another funny thing. I think I mentioned in the our group chat. Jimmy back to Minnesota.
Oh man, you thought it was bad with him and Cat. He would hate Gobert. It would be terrible.
Yeah.
Baguette
my
over
God.
me.
And he would also bring out the word like I know like I have this feeling that Anthony Edwards like hates Rudy also, but he like really and it comes out sometimes, but he really has to hold it in. Jimmy would bring that all out of Anthony Edwards. It just become just a disaster.
It'd be a mess.
I'll end the Jimmy Butler discussion with a fawn. We talked about the Rockets. I don't know if you think that's.
I'll quickly speak about the Rockets. It just depends on what we want from the season. I personally am in the opinion that look, we still have time before we contend. I know the defense is really special this year, so I mean you don't want to miss that opportunity. But you know, there's value in giving these on-ball reps and these situations to the young guys, especially Jalen Green, even if he's struggling, getting the reps continuously. If not, Reed gets some reps. Cam Whitmore eventually, maybe once he gets a little bit more playing time, gets some of these reps. So it's just kind of what we want from this situation. If they do think that, all right, this is like a true contender and we need a go-to guy, Jimmy Butler, but like, again, what is that getting? I think it only makes us maybe a second round, maybe Western Conference Finals, but that's a maybe. So I don't know if you want to wager that for Jimmy Butler. I think the team that might do it is Golden State. They've been like putting all their players out to basically on showcase. Hey, this is Kuminga.
Pajemski.
Kuminga seems like a Heat.
Yeah, he does seem like a Heat, but they're putting all their players out to play. Like it's so weird. Like who does that? Like, and like Draymond suddenly is like, all right, I'm gonna come off the bench. Like, go ahead. Like this is just like there's something fishy going on. There's something intentional, in my opinion, going on. And the reason why they would do it is, you know, Curry needs some help for sure. You know, there's only we can't predict how many good Steph Curry years there are, but realistically, maybe like 2-3 elite seasons left of Steph Curry. You got to maximize them before the window's closed, and then
hopefully less. You know, we'll see.
Tell Genie that, bro.
Yeah, but honestly, I hate talking about Jimmy Butler. I just hate it. He's gonna stay in Miami. He just does this BS.
It's very dramatic.
Yeah,
but
so like,
I think
honestly don't care.
I think the Heat and Jimmy Butler are a match made in heaven for the rest of eternity until he retires.
Do you think?
They're just like both?
Rachel. Don't forget about Rachel.
They're both equally toxic. You know.
Don't forget about Rachel.
Rachel Nichols. Where does she come into this?
Hey, you said.
Oh, you're talking about match mated. Okay. With that.
One more, I guess, on the Heat thing. Does Jimmy expire next season? Right, his deal expires next season.
Yeah, he's a free agent at the end of.
If he stays,
let's see.
He has a player option for 25-26. 52 mil, which I assume he'd probably opt in if he doesn't have a deal. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, he's saying that if he gets traded, he's going to go into unrestricted free agency. That's so. I think he's operating as if he's going to be free agent next year.
35?
Yeah,
bruh. Why are we having this discussion, man?
Yeah, maybe we should move on on that note.
Man.
From one old guy to another, Shanor, I know you were intrigued by a certain elder statesman popping up in the trade.
I mean, this is 100% not going to happen, but it was in the news this week, so I think not that guy. Salute. LeBron James name popped up in trade rumors this week, and we talked about the Warriors, and a lot of people are like, "Hey, man, oh, they're like LeBron to the Warriors," and just the thought of LeBron and Steph Curry playing together, it just really it really pissed me off. Sorry, you got me heated up, and and like, listen. This is like this. Okay, this is me standing on my like a little pedestal. This is a problem with this generation of basketball fans. You guys don't hate enough. You guys are like, oh, we gotta appreciate LeBron while he's here. Root for your team. How about that? How about pick a team and root for them and suffer when they lose instead of just jumping to the next team like LeBron or KD? And sorry, it really irked me during the Olympics when people were like, "Oh man, we got to get them together. We got to get them together." Like, shut up, just shut up. LeBron fans, suffer a little bit. How about grow some hair on your chin? Grow up. Ow. Sorry. You guys have any other thoughts?
Hey man, I'm kind of on your side. I agree. I don't want to see that happen. I think it'd be incredible for the league if LeBron James and Stephen Curry were on the same team. That'd be insane. They'd be literally televised every night. They'd find new slots on ESPN to air their games. It'd be like Adam Silver is like praying every night that happens. But I don't want to see it. I would be so upset if you could. If LeBron forces a trade to play with Steph Curry, I think that's the nail in the coffin for me, man. I'll check in when LeBron's on the retirement tour. Officially off the officially off the bandwagon until he's almost gone. I just that's just too much evil.
You're all that 18 years to appreciate him. You guys can deal with a couple bad seasons.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's 22 years to appreciate.
Dude, think about LeBron and Steph doing the powder thing together.
You're disgusting.
Bro. Dude, imagine LeBron if Steph did the silencer.
Dude, Io, imagine Bronny in between them.
Oh my god. Dude,
I'm personally more interested where Bronny goes. That's just me.
He's going per Windhorse. He's going wherever LeBron James goes. That's our package deal.
Package deal.
There's some weird.
I don't.
just like,
that's the other thing. I don't. I'm. Maybe it's just me. I worked 1 year. Like, you just work 1 year with your dad and be like, "Hey, man, I think I'm gonna just try this thing out on my own." I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe he feels that way. Bronny's now playing games on the road. Maybe he's paving his own way now. No, he's out from under the thumb of
his
dad.
next chapter.
His next chapter, playing on the road,
Rebel,
in the G League. But
Afan, you got anything to say on this?
Like I said, man, I'm more interested in this package deal of business. Wait, so to be clear, it would be to go to the Warriors, not the Lakers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be LeBron leaving the Lakers.
Yeah, that's all BS, man.
It's not gonna happen.
He loves Hollywood, man. He absolutely loves Hollywood.
Why you say it like that?
Settled there. He's so settled there. I mean, I know there's some Braun allegations going on, but we don't talk about that.
We don't need to do that.
I mean,
That's not why
he sat out the game after the Hove allegations. I don't know.
Hey guys, his foot just hurts. Okay,
sorry,
his foot hurts.
I went a little too far.
He's 40 years old. His birthday's coming up. He's almost 40 years old.
There's no way he's going to Golden State, man. He's not.
It's all just like.
I just saw it blow up on Twitter, and
lit
a fuse.
It's terrible for his legacy. Like, think about it. Like, oh, I'm gonna go join Steph Curry, Steph Curry's team. Not Steph Curry's coming to the Lakers. Like, that's different. He's going to Steph's team. Like,
I think he knows that, like, if he went there, it would, like, he wouldn't be the center of attention for the first time in his career, and he would hate that.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't.
Oh, yes, he would. Yes, he would.
I need some of that pre-Laker Io LeBron hate to come up eventually.
Dude, I used to hate LeBron. Not anymore. That's a goat.
That is the GOAT, but he's a little bit of a diva. You know, he's a little quirky, you know.
Aren't we all divas and quirky, you know?
Yeah.
Not me. I'm pretty normal.
Um, I'll just for the we'll have when the trade deadline's coming up a little closer, we'll talk about like more of the role players that are kind of on the move and the ones that'll actually have like real impact in the finals race, which I'm sure they'll come up. But anyone want to touch on some, bigger names that's been out there just before we move on to the next segment?
Have we talked about Zach LaVine outside
I was
of
about to bring him up.
outside
No,
of a couple trade scenarios like on this podcast in general?
not
I feel like-
really.
I think
I feel like that's perfect Nuggets / Warriors. Like I feel like that's who they should go after. And it depends on Chicago's front office. They're pretty incompetent, but I don't know. They have to see the writings on the wall on this point.
I think at this point it's the contract is scaring other teams. It's not even the Bulls like being bullish on not trading anyone or like winning still. It's just no one wants his contract with his injury history. I agree. I think he could help some teams and like especially if he's not like the main guy. He has other talent around him and he's just kind of like a hired gun as far as a scorer goes. Having some defensive talent around them. I think the Rockets have been in discussion too. I think he'd be a good fit there. Ideally, if he could just like take the place of the Jalen Green role, he'd just be like a supercharged Jalen Green. But yeah, I think he'd be intriguing. I think he'll ultimately get moved. People will get desperate come February. I think he'll finally get moved this year. Golden State. I actually don't really see it with Golden State. Like I know Steph needs some help offensively, but like he wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know if he'd fit their like whole scheme. Like you have to you have to play a certain way to fit in with the Warriors, and then B, defensively, he's just like such a minus. Like almost worse than Buddy Hield. Like Buddy Hield's bad, and then like LaVine might be worse.
I don't know.
And
I
having
think
both of them
Draymond would
on
be
your
really
team-
kind and helpful, later in the season with him.
Oh yeah, yeah. He really takes people under his wing. Real track record for development. That Draymond Green.
Yeah, that bum.
Yeah, just letting Kuminga just develop while he sits and watches. AKA, please get out of here, Jonathan Kuminga.
It's so obvious.
Oh man, yeah. Also, just before I'll just ran for a little bit of a minute. The Warriors front office needs to get just as much like clowning as like Rob Pelinka does with how they've wasted Steph Curry in his twilight years, as Rob Pelinka has with LeBron. It's so stupid. Like, especially like think about trading Jonathan Kuminga now. He's going into like restricted free agency. No one is going to like give away assets for Jonathan Kuminga to have to pay him and extend him just in the summer with the track record that he has. Brendan Pojemski was like had value last year. They were like getting greedy. They could have like gotten to the Markkanen sweepstakes before he got extended. They could have had other players, but they were so bullish on like Brandon Pojemski. Oh, he's perfect for our system, and then like he's regressed like predictably. He was like a 22-year-old coming into the league with below average athleticism, and he's undersized at his position. Like, what did you expect? Like, and they just always think they're whatever this light years ahead thing, when in reality they just got Kevin Durant one off season, and then they have like one of the top, like arguably top 7 players, top 5, top 7 players of all time, and then like a generational defender. But like, yeah, they grew the talent, but like beyond the KD acquisition, like what have they really done that's been shrewd, other than just like not, I guess, tell Steph Curry to wear ankle braces. Anyway, Warriors, you're not that slick. Don't think we don't see you.
And the James Wiseman draft pick was one of the biggest misses of like they literally could have easily transitioned to like a next phase of dominance. And it's weird because like they always relied on like big men who were just, weren't like premier big men in the NBA. Andrew Bogut, of course, he was the first pick, but like they got Andrew Bogut when, he was kind of not known as like a premier center. and then Festus Ezeli, Zaza Pachulia, all these guys that dirty guys, by the way, but all these guys that you don't expect from like what you wanted James Wiseman to be. It made no sense in the time.
And we did our draft. We did our draft last episode, right? And that draft, if anything, had like a lot of guard talent.
So much more talent.
Like, and even if like we have the benefit of hindsight, but like realistically, you could have drafted Halliburton, you could have drafted LaMelo Ball in that slot, and you didn't because you were like so fixated on getting a big man and like who like clearly he played like what 4 or 5 games in college or something, and then it's like, oh, we're gonna develop him in our system, and then.
But even if let's say he turned out to be a good big man, it's so different from how they play. It would make no sense. Like their hope was like, oh, he's this dominant center. But
they just needed someone to set moving screens.
Exactly. That's all they need. Jordan Bell. Don't get me started on that bum. I'm gonna have like a 5-minute rant.
I'm not gonna lie. When they drafted Jordan Bell, I was so upset that year. I was like, how did they do it? Because like I'm pretty locked into college basketball, and he was like that year at least.
Oregon,
he was in the Final Four at Oregon, and he was like a block shot machine. I'm like, oh my god, of course he went to the Warriors. But I'm glad he didn't pan out. No disrespect to Jordan Bell.
Finals, man, through his moving screens
and fouling James Harden on threes.
Yes.
But anyway.
Stupid organization. Let's just put out there.
Speaking of
sorry, go ahead. We're done with Warriors.
Speaking of disappointments, in this case, we were talking about the Golden State Warriors as an organization. We have an OVO sample size. We highlighted some good things with our awards segment last episode. But I want you guys to bring to the table some disappointments so far this season. We've touched on some, so I challenge you not to bring up the Tyrese Halliburtons of the world. I'm just so fixated on Tyrese, but there are other disappointments that we talked a lot about so far. So maybe bring up something that we maybe haven't discussed as much. It's kind of gone under the radar as far as disappointments go. Could be anything: player, team, just things about the season.
Coach.
Yeah. Do you have someone in mind?
No, I bring him up a lot, so we're not.
Okay, all right.
I'll bring up Sacramento.
Yeah,
that's who I had.
They had so much momentum from, and it's the stupid Warriors, right? Again, like they had all this momentum. Like, all right, we made the playoffs for the first time in so long. Light the beam, and like you don't even hear about the beam anymore. It's kind of sad. Like it's a small market team. They have great fans. And it was very exciting that they're back to being competitive after so many years. They had really good young talent. They had a very fun team, very exciting team, and like I mentioned just now, like a really good crowd. But yeah, they've kind of just fallen flat. Like no one talks about them. I know Fox is having like a really good year, but it just seems like he's stuck now in the wrong situation. Might be another a person that might request a trade, didn't sign his extension. So I don't know. It's really disappointing to see. I mean, as a fan of a team in the Western Conference, it's easier that they're not good. But as a fan of the NBA, it was fun that they were back to being competitive. They had good environments, and it's kind of sad. They just kind of fallen flat. So I'll give that. That's my pick.
That's kind of who I had as well in mind. They remind me of like Pacers West a little bit. I don't think but I think it's just kind of a organizational thing. You saw like bits of it last year too. They just they had this like offensive explosion in the 2022-2023 season, but didn't really like build beyond that. They just kind of doubled down on their roster. Didn't really improve around the margins. I think you're seeing that kind of come to bear for Indiana this year, but it started to happen for them last year. And then I think they didn't really they tried to do something different this offseason by getting DeMar DeRozan as like their prize. And I think it's just, and even who they're targeting now, whether it's like Brandon Ingram, they've been in the Brandon Ingram talks a lot. I just don't think they're really going after the right people. Their defense has always been the problem. Like with that 2-man game of Sabonis and Fox, unless you break them up, you're gonna have at least a top half of the league offense at the very worst. So like, but their defense is like bottom like fourth of the league. It was even in the year that they did pretty well and got the 3 seed, and they really haven't addressed that. I think their solution is like, hey, let's start Keon Ellis sometimes, and like hope for the best, or like really hope that Keegan Murray is our stabilizing force. But like none of that has worked. Keegan Murray hasn't really taken much of an offensive leap. I think he's a solid player, but they just need more, and they haven't been going and getting the right people. And like Mike Brown is like a Steve Kerr disciple. He brings like similar principles offensively to him. And you bring DeMar DeRozan, who doesn't really play that way. Like he's good to have at the end of the game if you need a bucket, but like I don't know, it's a little clunky. What do you think? Any thoughts about the Kings or anyone you wanted to highlight as far as disappointments?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the Kings. Yeah, I guess speaking of that defense, I guess I was thinking like, because I think they try to get Davion Mitchell, who they thought would be kind of their, on ball or a point defender. And he was pretty small, but I guess it didn't really pan out for them. And I feel like they haven't really tried to get that replacement or that really good defender ever since. And like you said, they kind of just, their defense is getting worse and worse. And they just haven't been, what we would have liked, after the past couple of years. My other kind of disappointment, even though I don't really care about them, would be the Pelicans. I think it's just more like a disappointment because you kind of just thought that like eventually this team would kind of be top 4, top 6 with all the talent that they've had over the past couple of years, and just like really just really it's mostly just what's it called, injuries. Like that's really just kind of been a lot of their issues, and then the issues with Zion, and then players just getting older. With I think we kind of touched on some teams probably missing when people are at their peak trade value. I think now looking at BI and like even like I remember like last year when Zion had just came back, some people were like, "Yo, dude, like, should they trade him?" I think before they offered the extension, and people were like, "I mean, let's still give him hope. Like, there's still a chance." But man, like they had traded BI and Zion like a couple months at the beginning of the year. I don't know with this team, so I don't really know where this team can like turn to. I don't know what they're aiming to do because I just feel like we're in this circle with the cycle of hopefully like the Pelicans can like at least threaten or be a challenger, and it's like I don't think they're ever going to be able to do it.
Yeah, I think what they've been, at least what's been talked about, is like McCollum being traded, obviously BI being traded. I think Zion is like his value's too low right now to like consider it now. They're just probably hoping he gets healthy, has a stretch like you said, where he like puts up numbers, and then you can just start talking about flipping him. But they just really need to consolidate the roster, and that's like even before all the injuries is what I had concerns about. I didn't have them in like my top 10 going into the season. When I was like predicting the playoff and the play-in, just because like it's just too like it's just like kind of a too many guys thing. You need to consolidate the roster. They need, like Trey Murphy isn't like a starter on this team, which is nuts to me. And like Alvarado plays too much even when he's healthy. Like there's like a lot of weird stuff, and it's part of it's on Willie Green, but like part of it's just like who you have in there and how they fit together. And it's just like if there was just clarity with the roster and like who needs to do what, then it might be better. And then they traded away like one of their like younger, higher potential pieces for I guess a decent player, but I don't know. They wouldn't do this DeJounte Murray trade again if you saw how the first part of the season's gone. So yeah, Pelicans definitely disappointing. Anyone else or any maybe away from teams, if any players in particular or coaches, just things about the NBA season?
Yeah. I guess you could point to a few people on this team, but I think the biggest, I was going to say him for later, but he fits this too. Dante DiVincenzo has been like a huge disappointment, especially for at the end of last season. He seemed like he had been like solid for a couple years, but it seemed like at the end of last season it was like, okay, like Dante's going to be like a key player on an important team. He didn't want to do the Nova Boys thing. Said F New York, left New York. And then was that a preseason game where he was like trash talking the front office, or did that happen in the regular season?
Yeah, it's preseason against Thibodeau, I believe, right?
Yeah, and Brunson's dad, right?
Yeah.
So he seemed like he was getting fired up. Like the Timberwolves added like a key rotation player, another ball handler, and he is just he has not lived up to the and his expectations weren't like super high. They were just like, hey man, we know what you are. You're going to be a key contributor to this team, and he has fallen short of like every benchmark that this team needs desperately. Are the Timberwolves even in a top 8 seed right now? I think
They're 9, right behind the Lakers.
they're behind the Lakers. So yeah, Minnesota's in that regard is disappointed as well. I don't know. He's just been, and then also I guess if Finch not playing Dillingham minutes is like disappointing. It feels like every time he's out there, he's just bark off the bench for them. Every time I've seen him, he seems to be like playing well. But I guess my main guy is DiVincenzo as my biggest disappointment so far.
Yeah, I think he's, by virtue of like who they got rid of, he's like was thrust into this role of being like one of the better shooters on the team and like needing to like keep up his production from last year, and that was already a high benchmark for him, like relative to the other years of his career. So him falling short of like what he was doing in the playoffs last year is just going to be a disappointment to begin with, just because of what they expected from him out of that trade.
Still a fan of his old tweets though. They always make me laugh a little bit. Anyways,
All of them?
Yeah.
Interesting. Anyway, one thing I've been disappointed in general is what games are being telecast on national television. How the NBA Cup has been marketed. I feel like it was like, I don't know if it's just my exposure to it last year, but like I feel like it was like when it was called the in-season tournament and it was nondescript, it was like marketed a lot higher. Like I feel like every time Tyrese Halliburton went off, it was like front page news.
Mm-hmm.
Like games are a lot more entertaining. I just think there's something missing there. And then it's just like, oh, who's playing on Friday night or who's playing on Wednesday night? It's like the Lakers. I'm sorry, I like watching LeBron. I know like not everyone does, but it's like a lot of Spurs. It was that same way last year. Like the Thunder were the 1 seed last year. They're the 1 seed again this year. Yet like I've seen them play on national television like twice. Like there should be some flexibility in how you're able to like telecast these games. Not only, and they do it later in the season, but they need to be able to do it earlier in the season too, because this is ridiculous.
For example, I was talking to Loke about this before we started recording. Like the Thunder, like Boston versus OKC in early January, that's a league pass game. And then the Thunder after this cup, after whenever their cup run ends, like they don't have another nationally televised until January 29th.
Really?
Wasn't it like it was like the same night or like back-to-back nights? It was like the Celtics and the Cavaliers, and then the Thunder and either the Rockets or the Thunder and the Warriors were like in close succession, and neither of them were on national TV. Like it wasn't the first Celtics Cavs game, but it was the second one where the Cavs won, and then it was like the Thunder versus either the Warriors or the Rockets.
Yeah,
and then like neither of them were national TV. It's like ridiculous.
Call that bald man out, man. What is he doing?
And then when you watch some of the games too, I don't know, it just takes forever. Like every game is like 2 hours 40 minutes now, which is kind of crazy.
Reviews taking longer than like 5 minutes and slowing the game down suck too. Reviews should not like if you're reviewing something and it takes longer than like a minute, you probably just shouldn't be reviewing it unless it's like the most important like thing that happened in the game.
There has to be some kind of limits to it. And also, one thing I've noticed too is like if it's a 5-point game within like a minute, like not only is the team down going to be fouling, but the team who's up is just going to foul right back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all this like strategy. Like I know it's like good strategy, but like everyone does it now. They're like hoping to foul like, even when they're up 5. It's like okay, just so they don't get a 3. Just so they don't get a 3, and it just like draws out the end of these games. So unless it's like a 10-point game with a minute left, you're gonna like you're in for like 20 more minutes and it's a free throw contest at the end. I feel like we're all sounding like boomers, but I mean it is what it is. Before we move on, any more disappointments you want to highlight?
I mean, Joel Embiid, I don't even hear about him anymore, to be honest. I don't know where he is. He's out. If he's not, just it's getting to that point, buddy.
Yeah, I think
I had no more words for him.
He's the gift that keeps on giving. I'm sure there'll just be Embiid stuff to talk about throughout the rest of the season. But yeah, he's definitely been. Yeah, he's just not there. So I don't even know we have a body of work to like be disappointed about. He's just non-existent.
Where are the Lakers for you on the disappointment scale? Overperforming, underperforming? Are they where you expected?
No, they're not where I expected. But I mean, this roster sucks, so I don't even care. I really don't care.
Bronny's just warming up right now.
Bronny hits a 3. Oh my god, Lakers are down by 62. Like, man, it doesn't even matter. I really don't even care about the Lakers this year anymore. Until they change the roster, I'll watch, but I don't care. Like,
get them off the TV.
Hey man, but you'll be watching them on Friday, right? Big game, Timberwolves battle for night, battle for seed 8. I won't be
watching tomorrow either. I barely. What was that? Last time I watched basketball, I watched some yesterday. But
hey man, okay, we don't have to. You don't have to tell on yourself, man. Please.
Dude, I am such a beast. He just comes in here and he's like, "Well, what can I say?" It's so sick.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Well, never mind.
We might start with Io on this next segment, but it's our most recurring segment. It's the Hooper of the Week and Hit the Showers. I'll actually let our other panelists who aren't with us today speak first. So we'll start with Hoopers of the Week. Saad wanted to highlight DeAndre Hunter. It's a very Saad pick, but I mean he's been the famous 6th-year leap as we commonly see in this league. DeAndre Hunter has become a useful player. He torched the Lakers that one game last week, particularly on that last play. You know, Gabe Vincent really was worried about DeAndre Hunter, so he left Trae Young wide open. So yeah, DeAndre Hunter's found his way. I mean, has a good frame and has defensive potential, can hit a shot, and both in isolation and spotting up. It's been working in the flow of that offense now. I think Quinn Snyder has a lot to do with it and putting him in the right positions. So a good shout. I don't know how many other awards he'll win the remainder of the season. And who did Izan have? Do you remember?
Izan had.
Oh, he had Chris Paul.
Yeah.
A little bit of a participation trophy, if you ask me. He vaulted into second place all time in assists.
Congrats.
Yeah. Congrats.
Fon, you wanna speak on
say, anytime you just pay attention to this fact. When you go back and hear any Chris Paul interview, he's gonna say, "You know what I mean," like 7 or 8 different times. So I just want to point that out. He's gonna even in his
I'm gonna look at.
Even
when look out for that.
It's a black thing.
I think it's a Chris Paul thing, man. He's just the way he said it so many times. It's
you know, it was like, you know what I mean, you know what I mean,
you know what I mean. You know, he's like,
yeah, we be doing that.
Well, I noticed it with Chris Paul, so I'll see. I'll make a note of that now going forward.
I'll be doing that now. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
I didn't watch basketball today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to kick it over to Io with all the basketball he's watched. who's been your hooper of the week? Or I guess you have like 3 weeks of games to choose from.
You already
Who stood
know.
out to you?
You already know. Paulo's number one man, Jalen Suggs.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
hooping. Even hooping with everybody with the injuries there. He be dissing the ball, be scoring. He had the one, I think last game I saw, going off. One on a heater. Like he helping keep the Bucks afloat.
For his
He couldn't hit that game winner against the Bucks though.
It was against but hey, I mean, bro, no Paulo, no Franz. Like, let's go. Like, I don't know. For Orlando to still be where they're at, he doing his thing. So I'm gonna Jalen Suggs.
Yeah. Suggs has been having a good year, and yeah, definitely stepping up offensively when the void of scoring ability they have with their two main guys hurt. Shinor, who you got?
Well, when Io said Paolo, I thought he was going to shout out another Italian that he mentioned in the group chat. Anyways, shout out Big Ouija.
Free him.
Pretty obvious one for me. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
We're back.
We're back. We're so back. They can never make me talk shit on you, King.
Hey, whoa.
Since Chet went down, averaging 33, 6, and 5, it's kept this team afloat atop the Western Conference. He's been hooping, and to cap off this run. Well, hopefully not to cap off. Hopefully the good times keep rolling. But his last game against Dallas, 39, 5 and 8. So I had to give the young prince a shout out. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean, dude. I'm gonna see if Luigi got a cousin. We're taking out first.
Whoa! That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was insane.
I'll share my Hoover of the week on that note. Trae Young, man. Yeah, especially with the struggles he had at the beginning of the season. Of late, notably had a game winner against the Lakers in a game where he had 30 points, 20 assists, and a game winner. And then the Knicks, man, what are they gonna do? He's literally rolling dice in the middle of MSG.
So sick. Knocking
them out of the NBA Cup. It's nuts. That's so great. They have some shame, Knicks. Come on. Mikal Bridges, what are you there for, man? Mikal Bridges, OG, anyone want to guard?
Dude, OG also one of those players like Lou Dort, man. Anytime the shot goes up, I don't know where it's going. I swear.
Did y'all see the thing where OG, every time he gets interviewed by the Knicks reporters on the side, he grabs the mic instead of just talking in the microphone? It's so weird. He has to grab the mic from him, and Cat called him out. Cat called him out last time he did it. Dude, stop grabbing the microphone. He's like, oh my god.
Y'all see the picture of OG with Sonny?
Yeah,
Sunni?
And
my bad.
Sunni Lee. Man, he's popular.
Grabbing the mic, me and Sunni, man. OG having a good life.
All right, Afan, who you got Hoover of the week?
My Hooper of the week. My reaction to you, Shinor, was out of disappointment because you took my pick, not because I don't like him.
We can double up.
Himself. Donovan Mitchell, you got nothing on my guy, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He's so smooth, man. Oh my god. Anytime he just gets in the mid range, I'm just I'll close my eyes, butter.
No one can stay in front of him. It's crazy.
His footwork is so fun to watch.
It's absolutely beautiful. He's got swag, man. He's got aura. He's got it all. You want to be him.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Captions are a little.
Amen. Licking his chops right now. Amen. Watching this, being okay, bet.
Yeah. I hope so. I'm lighting a fire. You see what I'm doing? I'm lighting a fire.
Yeah, but, he's got aura, but I need that freak Drake to stay away from him. I don't want that curse anywhere near me. near my team.
It's a little concerning how he like in the middle
He's
of the game he
Canadian.
like went and dapped
Canadian.
up Drake right at like halftime. Wasn't even at the end of the game.
I
Just,
love
like,
it.
went
I
in,
love it.
When was this?
like a week ago when they played the
they're in
Raptors.
Toronto.
Yeah, he might be a Raptor soon. Who knows?
Stop it.
All right.
Every
Anyway.
dream to be a Skims model. All right.
Shout out Tyler Hero.
That's it for me.
Still the meme of the week winner.
Oh, yeah. Schnorr finds a way to squeeze in that award. But
Just like Shay and Don
probably
squeeze into
our
the Skims.
all right.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hey man, some editing you have to do.
What?
Some editing is you got late night editing for you.
Come on.
But probably our favorite award of the week, or when we were able to do this segment, Hit the Showers award. Comes with a towel. Anyone want to start?
I'll start just because I already said my guy. We can get it out the way. Dante DiVincenzo, hit the showers, man. All right. I already talked enough about you.
I'll share Saad and Nizan's contribution. So Saad, I've already touched on Brandon Pajemski, but Saad also wanted to highlight Brandon Pajemski, and I think he has some stats to go with it. So I'll just pull it up real quick. So yeah, the prize asset of the Golden State Warriors is putting up 7 points a game on 38% shooting from the field, 24% shooting from three, and 75% from the free throw line. In addition to being average to minus defender, undersized for his position, and 2 points lower scoring per game than he was scoring last year. So that's Saad's Hit the Showers award, and then maybe a little bit biased and fueled. Mizan had Terry Rozier as his Hit the Showers award. So it's too specific not to be some just pure hatred behind it. But Terry Rozier, it's kind of under the radar. Like they gave up a first round pick for him. He was their prize of the trade deadline last year, and now he's a bench player. And it's not like he's like a luxury to have. It's just because he's not even playing well enough to crack their starting lineup in a team devoid of scoring talent. So
yeah, he's got in a fight with Bam. I saw. Not a good look.
Not a good look at all. I think the Charlotte, he definitely just had some inflated stats in Charlotte. I think the good stats, bad team thing is like all these people want all these Charlotte and Utah Jazz players. I wonder once they get traded, what are they actually going to be on these teams that acquire them? Terry Rozier is not panning out. Who knows? The Colin Sextons of the world, if he gets traded, things like that. Who knows? But yeah, it's a good pick. Afan, who do you have?
We kind of mentioned this person earlier. That bald man. I'm handing him a towel. Adam Silver. Hit the showers, buddy.
Yeah,
bro,
man.
What is
He
Adam
deserves
Silver doing? All right, NBA Cup. Right, good, solid idea. What are you doing, man? Same theme song 2 years in a row? At least change the song, man. League Pass, having all the good games, all the blacked out zones around the country. Can't watch your team in market. So expensive to watch your favorite team. No NBA attendance going down, ratings going down, illegal streaming going up.
Shout out Meth Streams.
Shout
Streams price went up.
Meth Streams sponsoring the next episode.
Watching slurs be created in real time in the chats.
Oof. It's tough. It's tough out there. That's the advantage of League Pass. Really, one of the only advantages is not seeing the chat on Met streams.
That's what Adam Silver wants for us, though. Apparently,
he doesn't want it. But yeah, David Stern shaking somewhere, man. I don't know where. Probably not in a good place, but definitely shaking somewhere. But Adam Silver, buddy, you got to figure some things out, man. Otherwise, you're getting to Jeff Bezos bald man territory, buddy.
And he might be a return award winner come the end of this month because Christmas is going to be bad.
Oh,
The
yeah.
NFL is pulling out all these stops on Christmas. They have like the Avengers of like commentators that are going to be involved on this Netflix doubleheader. They have Beyonce performing at one of the halftime shows, or it's going to be a disaster. Like the ratings are going to be like all-time low on Christmas in the
And
NBA.
he's just taking it.
What was their fight? They redid that commercial with like animated versions of the players.
Oh, the Jingle
The
Bells one.
claymation.
And they didn't even get the guys. Like they just got their voices. That's crazy. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Hit the showers, buddy.
I don't know, man.
For you.
That was a great Hit the Showers nominee.
Thank you.
I don't know. We got Spurs and Knicks, Timberwolves and Mavs, 76ers, Celtics, Lakers,
Oh my
Warriors,
gosh.
Nuggets,
gosh.
Suns.
That is a terrible slate. That's off. That's pretty bad. Spurs, Knicks. Are you kidding me? Yeah, my Hit the Showers. I'm gonna do it. This is out of peer pressure for a little bit. I was accused of not having this segment last week to
Let's go.
protect one LeBron James. That was not my intention. I think we talked about LeBron sufficiently and his particular struggles too, specifically. But LeBron James hit the showers, man. Why does it?
He did it.
I mean, your most recent game was, vintage LeBron after like everyone's talking noise about you online. He wasn't the reason why they lost to the Hawks. But since then he sat out against the Trailblazers. He's going to sit out next tomorrow.
Why
and
is
he's being foot soreness is the official word, but he's cryptic enough about it to where it leaves it up to the imagination. Is it a trade request? Is it something else? Bronny's playing on the road now. That's a little bit of a change of plans. We'll let our audience connect the dots, but he's just kind of it's just like classic midseason LeBron, stirring up some drama. Who knows what it's for? Does he actually want to be traded? Does he just want Rob Pelinka to make a move? Even with his rest, is he going to, seem like old LeBron, or is he going to have this inconsistent play that we talked about in prior episodes? We'll see. But reluctantly, I give the award to LeBron James because you all forced me to. Hit the showers, LeBron.
Wow. Might be the only time
what a
this
moment.
happens, but we had to have it. It had to happen. 2 back-to-back Hit the Showers bangers, in my opinion.
Io, are you going to finish
Silver
out the pod?
Yeah, I don't have a Hit the Showers. That kind of like left a bad taste in my mouth. And honestly, this segment's kind of mean, like they're people. So let them think.
You gave the whole organization a towel.
Hey, audience!
What did you just say about Shay?
Including the team managers, the equipment managers.
That was old me. Okay, the truth is, I didn't really.
Just watch some games next time around, and maybe you'll have an award to give Io.
Sorry.
Hey, you know what? From now on, one of us doesn't watch basketball the week of the pod, and we have to figure out who didn't watch basketball that week.
That's a good idea. That's a great idea, actually. Just like talk about segments. Just don't tell on yourself, and just see who can pick up on it.
But I want to watch. Like, I really want to watch yesterday.
I think you know enough about basketball and you follow it enough, even if you're not watching the games, to know what's going on, know the pulse. But just don't tell on yourself next time.
Okay, sounds good, chat.
All right. With that, thanks for joining. It's getting late. This is fun. I'll see y'all the next time. And to the rest of our audience, happy hooping.
Happy hooping.
Dude. Hey, bro, you gotta watch some basketball, man.
I know.